Hey there, my name is Jessup Flower. I am a screenwriter, educator, and all around learning, training, and development nut. And welcome to the My Favorite Teacher podcast.
Oh, my favorite teacher makes the rocking world go round.
Yes, that's right. Welcome to the My Favorite Teacher podcast. Thanks so much for coming back. I am, as always, totally excited about my guest, but I'm not excited as always because it's just somebody else cool that I know. This is somebody that I'm kind of meeting for the first time. So this is not somebody that I know. I've responded to them online because I'm a fan of theirs online. And because of that, I was lucky enough to have her say yes and to join me as a guest. So my guest today has built a really kind of cool, successful, and incredible following on lots of different platforms, including Instagram, including YouTube, Threads, and of course TikTok, where the fan base is over 122,000, which is incredible, and likes are well into the millions, and all built around kind of a cool niche that I want to talk about today. And I'm excited because it's about Tolkien. So please welcome my guest today, Kaia K. Welcome, Kaia.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me. Thanks for saying yes to this, first of all, and nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, Tolkien, how did you? I mean, obviously, you've been a fan for this the whole time, and you've got tons of videos that probably explain all this. So, I'm sorry that some of this is repeat. But how did this all start? Did it start when you were young, as far as just your just affinity for that world?
So it started out the way a lot of people's entrance into this world starts is my dad read the books to me, and then he showed me the animated Hobbit, and then he read The Lord of the Rings to me, and then we went and saw the movies. I fell in love with Legolas, and then I read the books on my own, and after that, it was like a downwards spiral. It the the Tolkien the love for Tolkien just kind of came up, clawed me by the throat, and just dragged me down.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm just warning my audience today that this is going to get nerdy, okay? Because my background, you can't see my Middle Earth map that's on the wall because it's behind the camera. So I'm just warning everybody that we're going to talk Tolkien today. Now I know for sure that one of my subscribers is going to be excited by this, but maybe not the others. But I hope you do because this is all fascinating stuff. I'm also interested in what you said because that's the exact thing that happened to me. My dad read me the books as well and did all the voices and everything. So that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about how my dad read the books is that he made the voices too. So the first time I like saw the animated movie, I was like, this, it kind of put me off because it didn't sound like my dad.
Yeah, you're like
But
hashtag not my
then
Gandalf.
exactly, exactly. And like even now when I listen to other audiobooks, so I've talked about this on my page before when people ask like, what's the most precious thing I have in my collection? My dad recorded his own audiobook and it's just of him reading the entire trilogy. And every time that I listen to that and then listen to other audiobooks, it's not the same.
That is so cool that he did. How long did that take him?
Oh, it was back when it was on cassette tapes. So I think it probably took my sister longer to actually transfer it from the cassette tapes to her computer than it did for him to like record it because he's always been into like the recording stuff, so he's never been shy or one to stutter when reading into a microphone. So I'm sure he did it in like one or two takes. But
Wow,
yeah,
that's incredible. Is the Andy Circus one out yet?
for the Silmarillion, yeah, I think that was the latest one to come out.
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
already
I think
did
they're
The
all
Lord
out
of the
now.
Rings and The Hobbit a long time ago.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, and he's got all the pronunciations. One thing that you are incredible at that I'm never good at are you actually, your pronunciations are close to what they're supposed to be, which isn't like,
Yeah,
that's pretty accurate. That's amazing. And
yeah.
so, did you get that from your dad? Does he do that too?
No,
Oh,
no. So there have been a few times where I've posted some of his recordings on my TikTok for Tolkien Reading Day, and in the captions, I am like, anyone who makes fun of my dad with the way that he pronounces things is getting blocked.
That's it.
Because I like I understand like pe some people are really weird about the pronunciations. Like I'm gonna like I'll pronounce it as accurate as I can, but I'm not gonna be like you pronounced that wrong. But when people would come into my comments and they'll try and say something about how I'm pronouncing it or how maybe my dad is pronouncing it, I'm just like, nope, we're not
No.
playing that game.
Yeah, that's good. I like
Yeah.
that you shut that down. That's
Mhm.
I started noticing your posts, I think, as probably most people did, during the whole watch Lord of the Rings with me. That was probably was that the thing that kind of blew up for you the most?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So for listeners that are on my side and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, she would do these posts where she would basically watch Lord of the Rings with me, and I thought they were hilarious because it was usually trivia that I knew as well. So you kind of became that person that was like, hey, did you know that Viggo Mortensen broke his toe when he kicked the helmet, and stuff like that. We're like, and I just thought it was hilarious. But then I kept watching him. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And you started coming up with all these gems that was like, man, I thought I knew this stuff. So then obviously it started to branch out into all the other things. And then my guess is as your fan base grew, just people started asking for more stuff. Is that right?
Mhm. Like it started as that and then I was like, well, let me try and branch off into something different so that way I'm not only known as the Lord of the Rings did you know girl, right?
Right.
And so it would be like the small little funny skit stuff and then the random, hey, let's talk about the Witch King of Angmar or let's talk
Yeah.
about the Mouth of Sauron.
Yeah.
And then there were people who would ask comments and I'm like, let me answer some of these questions that are asked a lot and it doesn't seem to ever get like a solid answer or a very
Interesting.
popular answer that isn't on Reddit. So,
Okay. And let's be clear. A lot of us folks are not going to go to Reddit initially to try to hunt down the answer. It's so much easier to watch a TikTok or a YouTube video that explains it. I know out there for some of the other ones, and I'm not going to name any specifics, but some of the videos that are out there that I'm like, oh, I'm interested in watching that. It just becomes dry very quickly. And so one thing that
mhm.
I think you do that's cool is you're animated about it and you're exciting about it and you have some kind of life behind that, which is really cool. And I think it's one of the reasons why your fan base has gotten so big too. So,
Yeah, and I like to think that's been a big thing that's improved in my content creation because
mm,
if you go back and you watch some of like the not the did you know stuff, but the longer lore videos that I make, I used to be so monotone and I would
oh,
just stare at the camera. And then like probably a few months into doing it, I started to be like, I need to put some personality behind this. Like
hmm,
actually talk to the camera like I'm talking to my friend.
right,
And like, just because really, if I'm not comfortable with it and I don't want to post it, I'll just freaking delete it. But
right,
then also, I'm hilarious.
nice.
So
I
everyone needs
agree
to hear
too.
this.
Like some of the stuff too that you have posted too is genuinely funny. And when somebody does something like that, it goes beyond, that they write funny or anything like that, but they're kind of funny in the bones, and that's what it feels like when watching. You can tell. So,
Thank
really,
you.
yeah, it's really a good thing. So, what do you think? And I should know this, but I didn't do the research on it. What has been your biggest video? What is the one that just is like, why do so many people like this one?
My gosh. Recently, it really depends on what platform it's on.
Right.
Like on Instagram, probably the most popular video I have is it starts out with it's not even a lore video. It starts out with a guy being like, "Oh, you want to know if he likes you?" And then it just cuts to me being like, "No, but let me show you my Lord of the Rings Lego
Oh,
sets." And then I just go on a tour of all of my Lord of the Rings Legos.
that's
But
awesome.
on TikTok, it's probably one of the very first Did You Know videos that I did, and it's part 7, which absolutely tickles me because 7 is my favorite number.
Come on.
And it's like me being like, did you know Kate Blanchett had to wear like 8-inch go-go boots to meet the height of Galadriel? Or I forget the other stuff that was in it, but that one is sitting at almost 3.5 million views, and it still gets likes, it still gets comments, it's still,
That's amazing.
yeah.
And it's amazing how TikTok decides to put it in the algorithm and put it on For You pages and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's really, really cool. So, this is the only gotcha question that I'm going to get you with just because I just saw the date and you said the 7th, and I was like, oh, is it the 7th today? Anyway, do you know what happened today in The Lord of the Rings? Oh,
What
no,
day is
you
it
can't.
today?
You got it written down somewhere?
I don't. I have a calendar right here, but I have it in September. I don't have it. Wait, what
October
today's the
8th.
8th.
And I'm only
So
cheating because I looked this up beforehand. So that is, I'm completely
didn't
doing a gotcha question.
didn't Gandalf go into Lothlorien?
No. So according to the internet, if I'm not right, this is after Bree and after Weathertop, and they're on their way to Rivendell, and Frodo has already been wounded by the Witch King. So
You might be. Hang on, let me see.
I don't know. That's what the internet said. So if I'm wrong, if that's wrong, then I'd be
It's not on the
great if like
calendar.
Kaia has the actual answer. Well, according to a letter that I have from Mr. Tolkien himself, that's what it
That
was.
would be
So.
funny.
What was so when you first attacked the content and everything like that without Dad reading to you? What was the first thing you went back to? Did you go and go, I'm going to read The Hobbit again. I'm going to read The Lord of the Rings. Did you go to extended works? What did you do?
Oh, it was The Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
100% The Lord of the Rings because that was, in my opinion, the easiest for me to do that also didn't feel like child's reading
Yeah. The
because
Hobbit's still a weird story altogether, but
yeah, but I feel like The Lord of the Rings was really the first I'm an adult type of book that I felt like I could read even though it was like 11. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And then from there, when did you start to get into the harder stuff? Like when you start to get into the, because let's be honest, the Silmarillion's a difficult read. All of the stuff that's kind of the extended tales, they're harder for sure.
So the first time I read the Silmarillion, it was my first year of high school,
Mm,
like first semester of high school. So I think I was probably about 13, 14. And I remember, um, again, it was my dad that gave me the Silmarillion because I loved Lord of the Rings, but it was also a very well-known thing between me and my dad that I loved history. Like I loved a lot of like I don't want to say medieval stuff, but like history, fantasy, all that fun stuff. And so my dad was just like, "You used to like Lord of the Rings, right?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Okay, well, did you also know that the Silmarillion is a thing?" And he basically explained it like it's basically a historical text to the Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, "Okay." And I read it, and going through it, I figured out very quickly. Going through it, like just cold turkey, chapter, 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 hardest thing to ever do.
exactly.
So what I did was I made a list of all the things that piqued my interest in the Lord of the Rings that I wanted to learn more of. I went back to the index of the
Yeah.
Silmarillion. I
Yeah.
found that thing, went to the first page it
Yeah.
was mentioned on, started at the beginning of that chapter, and then read through it, and then did the same thing over and over and over again.
You used it as a reference book.
Hmm.
That's super smart.
Yep. And then I
That
think after the first time I did that, I actually went through and read the Silmarillion as a continuous whole, and it was so much more easier to understand after
easier,
that.
much because you already had a bearing on stuff. That's real. That's a great idea. Huh. I should have done that. I never did that. I just struggled. It's like I must not be smart enough for this book, but it's really difficult. And then and since then you've gone through all of the extended stuff that even Christopher has
Yeah.
put together and everything as well, the
Uh-huh.
Children of Hurin and all that kind of stuff.
But yeah, like I think it was late last year, no, early last year, I finished the history of Middle Earth, and that's the big black box right here. And
There they
they
are.
just came out and printed all of these ones, but I only have two sets. I need to get the other two. But I just finished reading the black set, and it is amazing.
Really? Okay, I'll have
Yeah.
to dig into that for sure. That's cool. Now, you mentioned school. You mentioned that you were kind of, in high school, kind of going through some of that stuff. And I know that you had read and everything and had dad read to you and everything. When you were in school, what did you want to do? I mean, you liked history. Did you know when you were in school what you kind of wanted to do for a living and stuff like that?
So in high school, what I wanted to do was something around like music or performing. Um, but at that time, uh, I have 11 siblings, right?
Whoa, I did not know
And
that. Wow.
yeah, so money was always a thing. So whenever I was younger and I wanted to get into dance class, my mom was just like, well, no money. And I'm like, okay. So when I got into high school, I joined band and marching band, and I wanted to do something with music. And funny enough, my band teachers were the things that dissuaded me to do that and completely
Really?
abandon music altogether.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe because of negativity and stuff like that, just not the best type to
Yeah.
teach. Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
Well, that I mean, that's not what this podcast is about for sure. So I will
No.
ask you, did you have a favorite teacher though that was the opposite? They encouraged you towards something else.
So no teacher that encouraged me towards anything, but it was actually my band teachers who were my favorite teachers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a twist. I love
Yeah.
this. So tell me, Kaya K, who your favorite teachers were and why.
So in band, the high school that I went to, we had four different band teachers and they all worked for the marching band. And so my favorite teachers were Mr. Pope, Mr. Crakey, Saucedo, and oh, I forget the last one's name. He joined my junior year, so I forget his name. But yeah, those they were all my favorite teachers.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
they weren't
why?
the
What?
nicest, but
Okay.
but they I don't really know how to explain it. They were just really good about teaching that things that you have a passion for, like take hard work. Like sometimes you are just born with a talent and sometimes you can pick it up really easy, but in order to really hone that passion, you have to work hard at it. It's not
Yeah.
something that is just going to come to you. You have to be really consistent about it. So, yeah.
So really just giving you that sense of, hey, if this is valuable to you, there's a reason that you've got to put some sweat to it. You've got to kind of put some elbow grease, I guess, into it and really put the work in. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like excellence isn't earned without hard work.
Right.
So, yeah.
So when you were going into that, is that then because you kind of entered it a little bit casually? How did that go then, as far as that teaching? I mean, what did that push? Did that push you to really try and say, okay, I'm going to grab this music and do it the best I can while I'm here, or was it like, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else.
Well, see, it's because of the high respect that I had for my the teachers. Like I tried really hard to get good at music. I still like to think that I was an okay musician. I wasn't bad by any means. There were obviously people who were far and away better than me, but you know how teachers play favorites and all that stuff. So that's what
Yeah.
dissuaded me from the music.
Okay.
But it was in the marching band aspect of it that was just like, if you want to be a good performer, you have to practice like a hard performer.
Well,
Yeah.
and a lot of people I think forget the fact that, when they hear about marching band or something like that, it's a dance. It's a choreographed dance of what has to happen. And I mean, let's face it, most of us have trouble just even multitasking anything at the same time. So, let alone trying to be able to manufacture and do the stuff with the instrument and the notes and make sure that's accurate, but also all the steps and moving around with other people. I mean, it's insane what some of those people can do. So that makes a lot of sense. What methods did they use? I mean, that you remember in terms of, was it lecture? Was it, pulling people aside? What kind of stood out to you as far as their teaching styles?
It was really a mix of things. Like obviously it was repetition, a lot of repetition, a lot of making sure we understood the techniques before throwing it at us.
Okay.
Um, there were times where they would pull us aside and be like, "Hey, you're being kind of funny. What's up?" And then there will be times where it wouldn't be like on the physical aspect, it would be on the emotional aspect where they would get the band all together and they would give us these really heartfelt like speeches before and after every single competition. And it's just like, okay, I didn't want to go into this crying, but yeah, now I'm going to do as best I can so that way I don't disappoint you.
Wow. So they would actually pull on you emotionally.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Well, what do you think that stemmed from? Did that stem from their own probably love of just the topic, or just even how they were as people or teachers, or all the above?
I want to say all the above, but probably the respect and the passion that they had for music itself. Because, like, normally band teachers don't stay around schools for that long, or once they leave a school, they don't continue to compose music for the school. But that's what Mr. Salcedo does for my high school still, is he still composes music for the marching band. And even after, like, they retire from their positions, they still work with the high school.
Wow. That shows just such a dedication to that, and such a, I mean, in the arts, we have to face it, unfortunately, because these are public schools, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and I understand where you're going with that. Like
Yeah,
the arts are not funded in lesser privileged schools. However, the high school that I went to, I was very privileged
that's
because
nice.
I don't know if you know where Carmel High School is in
I know
Indiana.
where Carmel is, but I don't know where the high school is, huh?
Yeah, it's one of the most wealthy cities in Indiana. So like there were my graduating class was 1200, and like our high school was very well funded. I could not be like, oh, we had a disadvantage because we didn't have the funding for it, because we absolutely did. And that's why whenever competitions would come around, it wouldn't be a question of if like the program could afford it. It was if we want to do ISMA or BOA that year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And what do we
And then
want to
sometimes
win
we
with,
would do both.
basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, like how many wins do we want to have? Do we want to do regional? Do we want to do state? And then regardless, we would always go to the Grand Nationals. So, yeah.
That's really, really amazing. I mean, it's really good to hear that there are schools out there. There's probably going to be teachers that hear this episode and be like, "Oh, great, must be nice for you," and everything like that. But honestly, hey, I mean, if it works for that area, I wonder what it was that district did to make sure that those schools stay funded with that kind of stuff, just because of the area, I
Bracket,
guess. Yeah,
tax bracket, honestly,
yeah,
which is it makes me sad because I'll have friends who would have gone to the lesser privileged high schools, or like even my nieces and nephews who go to lesser privileged high schools, and it's just like, well, what do you mean they're not doing this, or what do you mean they can't afford to go to a competition? And then in my head I'm like, Kaia, don't be stupid. You come from a lesser privileged area. You only moved here like XYZ years ago. So yeah.
So, are you still in contact with those teachers even today, or no?
No.
No
No.
way, huh?
No, I do follow what the band does and all their
Okay,
accomplishments on like Facebook and all that stuff, because I do have friends who now work at Lucas Oil or for BOA and all that stuff, and so they do still work with the high school and with those teachers, and
gotcha.
it's nice to see the teachers gain more accomplishments over the years, and so yeah.
So as far as that kind of dedication and putting the hard work in and do really practicing and working on something that you're passionate about, how do you think that affects your life today, even in the stuff that you're doing now?
I'm an absolute perfectionist. Like if I am going to do something, I am going to do it right. And I'm going to make sure it is something that people are going to enjoy. And if it's not the best work that I can put out, I'm not going to put it out, because it will, one, reflect badly on me
Yeah, yeah,
and make it look like I don't know either what I'm doing, what I'm talking about, or my, I don't want my production quality to be low. So if it doesn't look good, if it doesn't sound good, if it doesn't sound coherent, then I'm not going to put it out. Because if I'm going to be good, I am going to be good.
that is cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you have, I mean, that's obviously it's built into your personality, because what I've noticed is a lot of people have the situation where the teacher, yes, they instill something and they do something there, but it's honestly like a magnet. You know how there's like poles that attract, to where it's like, oh, what you just said doesn't necessarily resonate with two or three other people around me, but that just lit a fire in me for something, and so that's probably because that was a value that you had in you. So very, very
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, in terms of what you're doing now with this stuff and everything, and with like, do you have any goals or dreams of where what you hope that it does, or that you hope to do with it? I mean, do you just want to continue to grow your platform and everything like that, or do you have any other goals as far as partnerships or things you want to work with?
Obviously, I would love to continue to be a content creator and grow in being able to talk about Tolkien, because I do love it a lot. Like talking about Tolkien is an absolute passion, obviously.
Yeah, yeah,
But like if I got so lucky was if and to work and to be able to work with Warner Brothers, or a company that would be making a Lord of the Rings line, and they would like, reach out to me for the things I know, or even for the kind of content I create, or the personality that I bring to my videos. That would
Yeah,
be absolutely amazing.
that's cool. That's cool. I know. Are you? I know that I've seen some videos as far as reactions to the Rings of Power season, that's coming, and I think that you have a little bit of a trepidation about what's coming and everything like that. But yeah, can you imagine if something was like, "Hey, can we reach out even as a we know that you do this content, can we, get some feedback as far as what fans have been saying?" Like that would be incredible, right? Something like
That would
that.
that would be absolutely amazing. And one thing that I know from my other fellow Tolkien creators who have been invited to like Rings of Power stuff, they actually listen to
That's what I've heard
content
too.
creators and the Tolkien community. So, like they'll take your criticisms, they will keep those in mind when creating these things.
Yeah. I have to ask because forgive me that I haven't seen this video. Who did you want the stranger to be?
Not Gandalf, let me tell you that right now.
Yeah, amen. Right?
I was very much hoping that he was going to be one of the blue wizards
Same.
because
I am right there with you. It's
yes,
right there.
and
That was
it
a
would make
gigantic missed opportunity.
yeah, it would make the most sense for him to have been a blue wizard and then the other dark wizard to
That's
also be a blue wizard. Now
Oh,
they
we are
still have
so
time.
kindling spirits on this thing.
Uh,
I'm
they
right
they
there with
still
you.
have time to make the dark wizard a blue wizard, but
I
my
know.
worry is that they're just gonna 180 it and make him Saruman. And then
That's
I
what
think,
I think that too. I honestly think
yeah,
that too. But if you think, okay, so you have to forgive me here, but I'm a storyteller, right? So I'm big on stakes, right? As soon as you introduce somebody that we already know the future of, your stakes are immediately gone. So I am never again scared of what's going to happen to the stranger, unfortunately, or Gandalf
hmm
now. But if it was, oh, I forgot their names. You're going to know their names. You're going to know the Blue Wizards' names.
well, which ones? They
Olmo is
technically have
Olmo one of them?
nicknames.
Olmo,
No,
no,
Olmo is one of the Valar, but
that's right.
Alatar and Palando, or
Palando. Okay, yeah.
yeah,
So if it was one of those, right, and we had this journey, and maybe they're still going together with Poppy and the the hobbity type situation they had going on, then you're scared. I don't because we don't know what happened to the Blue Wizards. Tolkien himself didn't say anything about them. So what a fertile ground to be able to use. So I know I was
exactly.
disappointed in that as well.
Yeah,
The
they
other
they
question.
could
Oh,
have
sorry.
done
Go
so
ahead.
much with it. They just could have done so much with it, and the fact that they did the fan service of making him Gandalf, it's just
Which
like,
fan service? I don't. There are not a lot of fans that were excited about it. Oh, wait, anyway. The other question I want to ask you, because I was thinking about it the other day, is going back to first and because we Rings of Power is all about it's second. Why am I blanking? Uh, Age. It's the second age mostly, right? If you're talking first and second age time frame, what's the story from first or second age that you would love to see realized in a really cool like visual medium?
so. I mean, I absolutely love that they did the Anatar and Celebrimbor story. Like
I do too.
the fact that they were able to use the Anatar thing. I was actually talking about this on my TikTok live the other night when
Yeah,
they were able to name drop Anatar. When that
yeah,
happened, I was on the edge of my seat and I
yeah,
screamed. I was
yeah,
so excited.
yeah,
But if it's anything other than that one, it would either have to be probably Baron and Luthien,
yeah, yeah.
or like a small little snippet of the standoff between Fingolfin and Morgoth.
Oh, yeah. Can you
Yeah,
imagine? Even just seeing Morgoth realized in a visual medium would be really cool.
yeah.
I am a little bit weird. I'm just gonna throw in mine, even though you didn't ask. I have always wanted to see a visual representation of Ungoliant and Melkor going to take out the trees and all that kind of stuff. Like that to me would be the coolest through line because then it goes all the way to her becoming too powerful and then him not knowing what to do and then calling on the Balrogs. I mean, that would
Yes.
be pretty epic, but I just Because I don't think it's just supposed to be a big spider. I would like to see a weird
Like a
interpretation
giant,
of
like
what that would.
monstrous thing. I think that
Right.
would be such a cool thing too, because there's so much that they could do with that,
Yeah.
because they could start out with like the Valar and the Eldar having their little gathering, and then
Right. They're just
Melkor
drinking and having
Ungoliant.
fun.
Yeah, and then Melkor Ungoliant coming and killing the trees, and they're just like, oh my God, the trees. And then we can see Morgoth kill Finwë.
Right.
And then we
Because
get
wasn't he in the act of, at that point, saving whatever light was still there and turning them into the Silmarils? Or am I
Finwë.
good?
No, so Finwë wasn't at um oh, what's the place they were at? I forget where they were at, but Finwë was basically back at home, right? And then Morgoth goes to Feanor's place,
Yeah,
steals the rest of the gems, kills Finwë,
that's right.
and then books it.
They had
And
already
then
made them
after
from the
that,
light of the trees. Okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then after that, uh, Feanor has this long speech, and then he goes, and he that's when Melkor becomes Morgoth,
Yeah,
because Feanor gives the name Morgoth to Melkor. And I
right.
think that would be just a mic drop scene.
It'd be epic,
Yeah.
right? So what probably needs to happen? Like let's oh, I don't even remember what that thing's called. Let's manifest this thing into existence. However, it's going to work for both of us here. So somehow we've got to get Stephen Colbert involved, right? So we're going to talk about this. We're going to try to name drop Stephen Colbert. So then Stephen Colbert is going to hear about, these two weird people talking about this thing. I'm going to get him as a guest on my podcast, right? Then what I'm
Amazing.
going to do is I'm going to kind of get us three together, and then we're going to use his weight in Hollywood and his free time now that he has, because he's not on his show anymore, right? And we're going to try to create some kind of another thing with Amazon.
God, that would be absolutely amazing. However, the thing with running into that, we have to see what rights is in what they're available, what they're able to use from the appendices and the story itself.
I know,
Because
because I think even Amazon's limited, aren't they? Aren't they limited
yes,
on what they can do?
like
Because the
they
estate,
yeah, they cannot use anything from the Silmarillion or Unfinished Tales, which
right,
is where a majority of the Second Age is. So
right.
they have to go mainly off of what is in the Lord of the Rings and the appendices, with special permissions from the estate. So like using the name Anatar, that wasn't in the Lord of the Rings. They had to ask the estate for that
They did have to
and
ask. That's
cross their
crazy.
fingers that they
Right,
would be allowed to use that, because the
right.
name Anatar is
Lord of
in,
Gifts. Or,
I think it's at the end of the Silmarillion, either that or it's in the Unfinished Tales. So
so
that would be
because of that, they
absolutely
had to
amazing.
ask permission for it.
Yeah.
My word. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, the one person, right, that is my Tolkien fan is the only one probably still listening. So I apologize to everybody else, but I told you that I'm excited about this stuff. And again, I just want to thank you, Kaia K, for being a guest on the podcast, for talking about the importance of just perfectionism, but not perfectionism just for the sake of that, but really when you find something that you're passionate about, you've got to put some work behind it. And that's
Hmm.
really noble. So thank you for doing that. Really appreciate that story.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, no problem at all. So, and again, if you're open to it, maybe we'll do a future episode where we just talk more Tolkien, and then the one listener will appreciate it, and then nobody else will. But you and I will have a blast
Absolutely.
about it. So again, thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
All right, so to everybody out there that is still listening, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, do all the subscribe stuff. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, I still would love to get some reviews. It really does help us get seen. And then, of course, please check out, and I forgot to do this, so let me transfer back to you. Kai K, how can people find you? Sorry, I almost forgot plugs.
Oh, you're fine. So on TikTok, I am known as Kaia KS. So it's KAIAKAYS. But everywhere else, it's Kaia K with two Y's. So it's KAIAKAYY.
Why,
That's
why?
everywhere else
Because we
but
love her.
TikTok. Exactly.
Okay, and then and just when they connect with you on there, they can connect with you on social media. They can subscribe, do all that kind of stuff.
But yeah, absolutely. Like
Cool.
comment, like, DM me. I try my best to respond to everybody.
And you do lives. You do lives and everything like
But
that,
yeah.
where you just sit there and talk about stuff. Yeah, I mean, I was on there the other night because I was the one that dropped gill giraffe when you were talking about dressing up as a.
Oh my God, yes.
That was me.
That was a genius idea. Oh
I,
my God.
I know. I was very proud of that, and then I'm like, well, I can't stay on here. I'm out of here. So, anyway, thank you again, Kaia, for being my guest. Thanks everybody for listening. Be nice to somebody out there. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.